Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers, sisters, and children out there keeping this word of sincerity and the truth. Okay, I want to go into this lesson, kind of going more so into the topic of the draft. And this is a video from the brother Arrows of Indignation 1442 or 144. And it says, for educational purposes only, survey of how citizens of Babylon feel about the draft and war. This was published 7 hours ago. And so I was going to play the brother video and then get a couple scriptures. I just watched it. The first clip is actually, it was actually funny. But it's an Edomite family. And basically, the daughter is at odds against her parent, which this is all a part of the curses too. But the daughter is at odds against her mother and her father about her children, which more likely her sons, going to fighting the war, you know. And she has a problem with it. And she mainly has a problem that her family is choosing the country over their own family. But I'm gonna play this video and get back to it, and I'm gonna try not to laugh. Lord will is edifying.
Donald Trump's kids should be on the fucking front lines.
Yeah, could Barron get drafted?
Yes.
Okay.
He should.
And you would be okay with Haley's son Roman being drafted? Your
Yes,
grandchild.
absolutely.
Wow.
Mom, would you be okay with that?
To fight for the freedom of our country? Yes.
You'd want my kids going to Iran to fight a war that Donald Trump started.
Your father.
You'd want my kids involuntarily on the front lines.
I didn't say on the front lines.
Dad volunteered for that bullshit. My kids aren't.
For the freedom of our country?
Fuck
Yes.
this country. Fuck Donald Trump.
Okay, we don't want
Fuck everything this government stands for. This is an
Sorry.
embarrassment. And the fact that you would send my kids to war is disgusting.
I'm sorry you would say that, Haley.
You
I'm
should
for
be sorry.
freedom of our
You
United
should be
States.
sorry.
I'm for freedom of our United States.
That's disgusting.
We
You
have
put your
freedom.
president. You
That
just
we
put our
live in.
president over my children, your own family, because you
Our
are a
president?
patriot.
No, I'm for freedom of our United States.
Mom.
That's
Freedom
not
means
Jesus.
you don't get fucking drafted.
No.
You don't believe in freedom.
Drafting the
That's
wars that we needed
no.
people to go
That's
fight.
not
You're not
freedom.
even smart enough to know. I got drafted.
That's your fucking problem.
No, it's not.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
Was happy to go.
You signed up for the military.
Was
That
happy
makes it
to
your fucking
go.
problem. My kids didn't sign up for the military.
Oh, and I almost.
Keep in mind that was a whole family. That was the son at the top, the daughter in the middle, and the mother and father at the bottom. And you see how they how she ain't going for it, but at the same time, you know, that's how these Edomites, they talk to their parents anyway. You know, even as an adult, we don't talk to our parents like that. But you know, Esau does things differently. But it's still funny nonetheless. And I'm gonna keep playing the rest.
No,
of it.
it's not.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
Was happy to go.
You signed up for the military.
Was
That
happy
makes it your
to
fucking
go.
problem. My kids didn't sign up for the military.
Oh, and I almost forgot. Let me put this shit out in the ether, out in the streets. My kids, my two sons, one of which is 19, freshman in college. The other is 21, works for a multi-billion-dollar race team, travels all over the country, living his best life. They've got their whole lives ahead of them. They are not, and I repeat, they are not fucking going to fight a war for a fucking foreign entity and die when they've got their whole lives ahead of them. Not fucking happening. My sons aren't going. Draft, don't give a fuck about a draft. They're not going. I'm just, like I said, I'm putting this out in the streets right now. I don't give a fuck. They're not going. It's not fucking happening. Or anyone I know is not going to let their sons go over there and fucking die for this madness. Not going to fucking happen. Regime change. I don't give a fuck. Go to fight for oil, steal gold, the third temple. I don't care. They're not going. They're not going. You can come and get me first. You You can come and get me. I'm in good enough shape. And I don't give a fuck. Like I said, just letting you know. Not going. It's not happening. You're not taking my sons over to some foreign land to die for your fucking proxy war and your fucking money laundering war. It's not happening. It's not happening. I hope you see it. And I hope you know, myself or anyone I know is not going to allow it to happen. So are millions of people. It's just not going to happen. All right? So do what you got to do. You're not getting my sons.
Why would the U.S. quite possibly go to war in the Gaza Strip?
Because Big Daddy said so.
The EU nations declare U.S.-Iran conflict is not our war. Right, so they basically saying, you got the EU nations basically saying they're not helping. They not finna help the U.S. You know, they staying out of it. I just seen that pop up from GMS Watchmen. Keep going.
And the U.S. is not Big Daddy.
Elaborate.
And then you got this dude, you know, talking about Big Daddy. This man.
Who? I don't know. I'll let some viewers think about that one, but why are we going to go fight somebody else's problem? How can somebody else say to us that has nothing to do with this, we need you to come over here and help clean house on our behalf? Why? There's trouble all over the world, but why for them? Why? Why do we have to jump what we're doing, stop what we're doing? You know, not going to mess with Ukraine, and we're not going to support that. We're going to stay out of Ukraine. We're going to stay out of this, but we're going to hop into this because they said so. I don't know, this is weird. Really, really, really weird. Why are we doing that? Who's in control? Who runs what? I don't know. I don't think that who we've been told runs the show is not the one who runs it. But all you got to just see is when somebody says jump and we start jumping and we're asking how high, it's the person we're asking that to. That's the one that's in charge. We're not jumping on our own behalf. We're doing it because somebody else has a problem.
Right. So as you can see, people they're not happy about what's going on. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15 verses 1. Well, we start at 1. It says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord." And this is what the men of the Lord have been doing, speaking all the words of Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, which is the spirit of or prophecy. And also in Revelations 19:10, it say the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. Yahushua said these things was gonna happen. So that's the spirit of the testimony of Yahushua, you know, going into his life and his teachings is also part of prophecy. Because that's what Yahushua did. He prophesied about what was going to take place in the end times. When his disciples came to him in Matthew 24, and they asked him, like, "Lord, what's going to be the signs of your coming and the end of this age?" It says world, but we understand that it's talking about the age, you know, meaning when the end of the heathens and Esau Edom ruling, and when we would be actually back in power, you know, and the kingdom of heaven coming. So we're speaking into the ears of the people, of our people, or the whole earth, the words of prophecy, which only the elect is going to understand. Verse 2, "It calls them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee." The incredulity goes into the unbelief, people that don't believe, because the Lord is going to make a believer out of everybody, you know. But verse 4, "For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness." You know, so the unbelievers, those who don't have faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, you know, who don't trust in the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, he said you're going to die in your unfaithfulness. But he's going to make a believer out of everybody. You know, the Lord is not going to be found a liar, because the Lord is never has been, never will be, never can be a liar, you know. So, like I say, fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. And you had people that spoke against the prophets for years. You know, started with our elders and apostles and their elders, all the way down to us, you know, speaking against us, saying what we saying is untrue and saying we in the cult. But now the situation is becoming more dire, you know. It's the story continues, you know, it's escalating, prophecy is escalating existence to the next level. I actually had a title. I'm trying to remember how I entitled it. A lesson I did probably like a week or two ago. But the plot thickens. That's what I said. The plot thickens. That's what it is. The plot thickens. So, you know, the things are moving rapidly. Now, I read 5 and 6. It says, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled." So that's why the Lord is doing this. Now I'm gonna jump down to verse 20. It says, "Behold, saith the Lord, saith Yahweh Shem Shah, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me." And the kings go into the kingdoms. So these nations, you know, from all around the four corners of the earth, from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Lebanus, to turn themselves one against another and to repay the things they have done to them. Which the Lord is saying he's going to cause all these nations to go to war and judge them for everything they've done to the Israelites, you know, because all these nations have had a hand in our downfall and destruction and our oppression. So the Lord has said he's going to judge every single last one of these nations for what they've done to us. And this is the process that's taking place right now. Even the nations that say they don't want to get involved, well, you're going to get involved eventually, you know, even if you're not on the side of your allies, you're going to get involved. And when Yahweh shall return, these nations, they most definitely going to get involved. Because if they don't, it's going to, well, rather, whether they do or not, it's going to be the same outcome. But when they see Yahweh shall return in them chariots, they going to get involved. But they, like I said, they going to get involved prior to. This is what the Lord is saying. Now, going into, like I said, with the draft, because there will be a draft. They wouldn't put out they wouldn't make it law to automatically sign men 18 that's 18 years of age up for the draft. You know, where they don't even have to go and get signed up anymore. You automatically pulled into it. They wouldn't make it like that for no reason. You know? And I think the age range is 18 to 26 as of now. Now, let me get Second Ezra 16 and 33. "The virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers." Why? "Because in the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine." So this is going on. This is gonna take place. It said women. It's gonna be a mass depopulation. Well, I ain't gonna say. Yeah, it's gonna be a mass depopulation in the earth, but it's also gonna be a scarcity of men. You know, especially like I said, when they talk about the war, it's gonna be a scarcity of men. You have a lot of men that's gonna go and forcefully get taken over to these other countries to fight in a war and die. This is what the scriptures say. You know, I'm gonna read it again. "The virgins shall mourn." These are young women. Virgins shall mourn. Or a virgin, it could be young women or women who haven't known a man. A woman who hasn't had sex. Virgin it has multiple definitions. So it's either a young woman or a woman who hasn't had sex. Shall mourn, having no bridegrooms, having no man to marry them. "The women shall mourn, having no husbands. The daughters shall mourn, having no Salakia. The women shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers." Why? "In the wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine." So people saying that they ain't going to allow their sons to go to war, and this ain't even just for Esau. It's for Jake too, you know. But saying that they ain't gonna allow their sons to go to war and You know, they not finna allow it. It ain't happening. This, that, and the third. We gonna see. You know, we gonna see what's gonna happen. Cause the scriptures can't be found a lie. So we gonna see what these people gonna do when that time actually, when it get to that point. But just wanted to go into a quick lesson when I seen that video. You know, that, like I said, that first video really had me rolling, that Edomite woman, you know. But a lot of these Edomites feel the same way, you know. And you got a lot of Jake, they afraid, you know, but it is what it is, you know. Prophecy gotta commence. And you got, you know, brothers that's in that age range, you know. You got you know, brothers, sisters, they got children within that age group, that age range, you know. We already know that what we already know not to trust our enemies. You know, we understand what they're doing. You know, we understand the plans of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. So even if you or your children get a notice, you know, saying you've been drafted, we ain't going, you know, 'cause we don't side with them. You know, we don't side with Babylon the Great. And I was listening to the I'm trying to think it, Saints of Jersey, listened to the brother earlier, and he was saying, you know, his son was worried about being drafted, you know. So we understand that it's gonna be pressure on people when they, especially when if they get that notice. But we ain't sided with our enemy. We understand that they are our enemy and this is their downfall. So we ain't go join them no matter what, you know. But Lord willing, this is the edifying lesson. I want to give on that note, I want to give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS, the Ruel. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers and sisters, the children out there keeping this word of sincerity and the truth.